Everyone, next up we have NeuroSense Therapeutics Limited. It trades on the NASDAQ under the symbol NRSN and is a clinical stage biotechnology company focused on discovering and developing treatments for patients suffering from debilitating neurodegenerative diseases. Please welcome Nadira Salzman, the VP of BD, and Alon bin Noon, the CEO. Welcome. How are you both doing today?
Great. Thank you, Anna.
Excellent.
All right. We're very excited to hear your presentation, and call me back when you're ready for questions.
Wonderful.
Good morning. I'm Alon bin Noon, CEO of NeuroSense Therapeutics, a clinical stage biotech with one product candidate in phase 2 clinical study and another product candidate with a phase 2 clinical trial expected to commence shortly, publicly traded on NASDAQ under the ticker NRSN. Along with Nadira Salzman, VP of Business Development, we'll be updating you on key progress across our developments during our time together and provide time for Q&A at the end. Before we begin, I would like to remind everyone that statements made during this call may be forward-looking statements, which may include statements of NeuroSense plans, projections, or expectations. NeuroSense actual results may differ materially from those projected due to a variety of factors, which are discussed in our most recent annual report on Form 20F and filings with the SEC. Now, let's get to business. NeuroSense Therapeutics is a clinical stage biotech company with US headquarters in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I founded the company in 2017 with a clear focus to develop novel therapies for ALS and other neurodegenerative diseases. We have been able to advance candidates into phase 2 studies, with our lead candidate expected to have clinical top-line results in ALS, a dire unmet need, by the end of this year. This past quarter, we signed our first big pharma partnership with Biogen. I'm also glad to update that we are fully funded beyond our upcoming catalysts, which is, of course, very important to us and to our investors. You may be surprised to see the strength of NeuroSense's pipeline for a company of our size, which speaks to our expertise and focus on indications with serious unmet needs. Our ALS program has advanced a candidate with strong efficacy signals and a good safety profile into phase 2B placebo-controlled clinical trial, with clinical top-line results expected by the end of this year. In our Alzheimer's disease program, we expect to initiate a phase 2 study shortly, with the first patient expected to be enrolled in the next few weeks. In our Parkinson's program, we have carried out preclinical studies and are now exploring potential collaborations. Prime-C is our lead therapeutic candidate. It's a novel combination composed of approved products intended to target multiple pathways involved in ALS. So far, in the preclinical and clinical studies we conducted, we have seen differentiated efficacy results and demonstrated a good safety profile. Due to its orphan drug designation and 505(b)(2) status, we expect to expedite and de-risk. We expect to have an expedited and de-risk pathway to receive regulatory approval and market exclusivity. In addition, we have built a strong patent estate covering the novel formulation, methods of use, and combination, with coverage out to 2038. ALS is undeniably a dreadful disease, causing paralysis and death within 2 to 5 years post-diagnosis. In the United States alone, there are about 5,000 new cases each and every year. As our population continues to age, this number is expected to continue to increase. We estimate to target 80,000 ALS patients in the 7 major markets, leading to an annual market opportunity of approximately $3 billion. Of course, to us, ALS is not just about the numbers. but about the people living with the disease. Here you see in the pictures of Shai Rishoni, you see Shai Rishoni in the pictures, who is the inspiration behind Prime C. Nadira will now dive into the science.
Thanks, Alon. As Alon mentioned, ALS remains a very high unmet need due to the heterogeneity and complexity of the disease. Multiple pathways are involved, and monotherapy simply isn't enough to make a meaningful impact. Therefore, we believed there is a new approach was needed. And we thought that the most effective way to tackle ALS is by doing so on multiple fronts. Prime C is a unique combination therapy assembled of two FDA-approved drugs, ciprofloxacin and celecoxib, aiming to work together synergistically on more than one key target. And utilizing combination therapy really holds two main advantages. First, we can improve the pharmacokinetics, and second, we can help enhance the mechanism of action. Prime C is using both of those strategies. Some studies that we did in a rodent model demonstrated improved pharmacokinetics when the components of Prime C were administered together. The combination increased the drug resistance by blocking the pump responsible for the efflux of ciprofloxacin, and thereby allowing the ciprofloxacin levels to remain elevated in the brain tissue for a longer period of time. NeuroSense has developed a novel formulation which synchronizes the concentration peaks of both components, as shown in this PK study in healthy individuals. This critical development aims to maximize the synergy between the two compounds. The second advantage of combination therapy is to improve the mode of action of the drug, and Prime C has already shown significant synergistic effects in preclinical models carried out in ALS zebrafish. We continue to elucidate the mechanism of action of Prime C in collaboration with world-class scientists from Harvard and University of Southern California. And this was actually one important study that we did with a non-sponsored study by Dr. Justin Nikita at University of Southern California, where he carried out a survival analysis. And he compared NeuroSense's combination to other marketed drugs for ALS. In this cutting-edge model, blood cells are drawn from people living with ALS and are differentiated into iPSCs, which were treated with different compounds. Prime C here performed favorably amongst its peers, similar to healthy controls. And these results further highlighted the clinical potential of Prime C. In parallel to the preclinical efficacy models that we've carried out, we already completed a phase 2A clinical study in 15 people living with ALS. This open label study followed participants for 12 months, monitored safety, clinical, and biological efficacy. Prime C was shown to be well tolerated and did not cause any drug-related SAEs. Prime C also reduced functional and respiratory deterioration, as well as significantly modulated key ALS-related biomarkers, such as TDP-43 and prostaglandin 2. Here we see some of the results from the phase 2A open-label study. The placebo control arm was obtained via propensity matching utilizing 9 criteria. When comparing participants who received Prime C to the placebo group, we saw a 30% attenuation of respiratory function decline and an 18% attenuation of disease progression, as measured by the ALSFRS-R, or functional rating scale, over 12 months. These results were obtained with an intermediate formulation, which is an immediate release. All of our future studies, such as our ongoing phase 2B study, are now utilizing our extended release formulation. Based on the promising results that we received from our phase 2A study, we initiated Paradigm, a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled phase 2B study. 69 patients with ALS have already been enrolled and randomized 2-to-1 Prime C to placebo. TDP-43 and prostaglandin 2 have been chosen as primary outcome measures, as we believe there's a high likelihood to see a significant change in them upon administration of Prime C. These biomarkers are strongly supported by the scientific community. Additionally, we are of course following survival, ALSFRS, and SVC, as well as safety and tolerability. As we approach the end of 2023, we expect that clinical top-line results from our multinational trial, which will comprise the double-blind segment, will be published. Once participants complete the double-blind segment, they're eligible to enter a 12-month open-label extension, wherein everyone is administered Prime C. To date, over 96% of participants have enrolled in the open-label extension. The results of this study will have a heavy focus on biomarker research, which NeuroSense is conducting via strong collaborations with industry partners. The information obtained from this analysis will allow us to characterize the patients with the expectation that we will be able to stratify patients in a future phase 3 study. In addition to our ALS program, we're preparing to initiate a phase 2 study in Alzheimer's disease, after biomarker studies revealed a potential effect of NeuroSense's combination therapy on TDP-43 and prostaglandin 2. This study is set to enroll the first patient in the next few weeks. We will be exploring the clinical effect of our combination therapy on mild to moderate AD over 12 months. Biomarkers will play a major role in this study as well. Lastly, our Parkinson's disease program has revealed a potential effect of NeuroSense's combination therapy on a novel target, AGO2, involved in alpha-synuclein accumulation. AGO2 dysfunction has been shown to have harmful effects on the brain. This program is still in the preclinical phase, and we are now exploring potential partnerships to continue development.
Thank you, Nadia. We are very proud to be able to put check marks after so many deliverables in 2022 and the first half of 2023. As we look ahead towards the end of 2023, we have many value-driving catalysts on the horizon. The first patient is expected to be enrolled shortly in our AD phase 2 trial. And in addition, we expect to meet with the FDA to discuss and confirm Prime C's development program for FDA submission. Top-line results from our ALS phase 2b trial are expected by year-end. The results obtained from our phase 2b study will dictate our regulatory strategy, as there is a chance we could file directly based on these results, or we will initiate a phase 3 trial in 2024. We expect to meet with the FDA and the EMA for end of phase 2 meeting to determine the best path forward. I would like to thank our scientific advisory board for their unprecedented support. We are honored to have these world-renowned clinicians on our team who provide very valuable insights. I would also like to thank our devoted collaborators all around the world who are helping to turn our vision into reality. These collaborations are making a real impact. We would also like to give special thanks to the patients who have volunteered for our clinical studies and their caregivers who inspire us every day. Before we close today's presentation, I would like to shed light on our commercial opportunity through the proven success of combined therapeutic strategies in other neurological diseases. Some of you may be well aware of the success of relevant analogies to our developments. Across neurological diseases, many combination therapies have been commercially successful. Recently in ALS, a small biotech company received FDA approval for their ALS combination therapy after a single phase 2 study with 137 participants. While there is still work to be done, the opportunity for value creation is clear. To conclude, NeuroSense is developing a novel combination therapy designed to address multiple disease targets. Completed studies have shown a promising efficacy and safety profile, including biomarker results in our most recent 12-month study. We have a major catalyst in the next few months when our top-line results from our phase 2b study in ALS are expected. Beyond ALS, we are initiating a phase 2 Alzheimer's study shortly, building upon our earlier studies in this large patient population. We already have built a relationship with a leading pharma company through our recently completed development deal and are well positioned for significant growth through our upcoming catalyst without additional funding. I'm very proud of our team and excited for the next few months and beyond. Thank you very much.
Great job, both of you. Thank you so much. Let's talk some financials. Talk a little bit about your current cash position and runway.
Okay, sure, with pleasure. So as we published at the end of Q2, we had 7.1 million in cash, and this amount will take us into the second quarter of 2024. So therefore, it's clear that we have enough runway beyond our major catalysts, beyond the readouts of the phase 2b clinical trial, which we expect to have in this December. We also have 3 million warrants from our recent financing at an exercise price of $1.5 and 1.7 million from our IPO at an exercise price of $6 per share.
Great. Can you talk about how much of the company is held by management?
Yes, approximately 30%.
And
30% of the outstanding shares.
Okay. And let's discuss the current share price. What are your thoughts about it?
Well, I think it's a bit disconnected from our ability to execute and progress in the field. But I think it's a sentiment that crosses all the biotech industry now to some extent. But eventually, as much as I don't think it reflects the extensive work that we are doing at NeuroSense and the progress and the achievements that we have to date, I believe that the fact that we have a major milestone ahead can create a change there. And also we are working now to make sure that more people, like in this case, in this conference, and more eyes and more investors are aware of NeuroSense, and they will be aware of our story, and they will be aware of the fact that we are expecting to have to meet a major milestone soon, which is the phase 2b clinical trial results.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about that. As you discussed in your presentation, Amylyx received FDA approval for their combination therapy after a single phase 2 study. Fascinating. So do you believe you'll be able to do the same for Prime C?
Nadira, would you like to take this question, or should I continue?
No, I mean, it's really entirely based on the readout of the phase 2b study. We're going to be in close connection with regulators, and if the results are compelling, we'll discuss this pathway forward with them. But ultimately, it will be dependent on the readout.
And can you predict how early could Prime C be on the market?
I can continue. So, I mean, just due to the dynamic regulatory environment that we've seen lately, and based on these decisions by the FDA for Amylyx and Biogen's therapies over the last 12 months, in a best case scenario, if we had outstanding data from Paradigm from the phase 2b study, it could be after we have data from this study, we could move forward and have regulators approve Prime C. But again, we have to wait and see what the readout is from the study.
Makes total sense. And also, you mentioned in your phase 2A study, you used an intermediate formulation. And in the phase 2B study, you switched to a new formulation. So can you explain that a little bit? And do you expect the new formulation will generate better results?
I'll take this one. So clearly, we worked on improving the formulation since we believe that it can create better outcomes. The fact that we are now using an extended release formulation that maximizes the synergism between the compounds and synchronizes the pharmacokinetic profiles as Indira presented, we do believe that it can create a meaningful impact and a better impact than we had seen even in the phase 2A clinical trial.
Well, thank you for your hard work on this very important technology that you both are working on. Can you say any closing remarks for our viewers, either Alon, Indira, or both of you?
I welcome Indira to provide the closing remarks. I just thank the crowd for listening.
Thank you, Anna. First of all, we're very happy to be joining today, and thank you to everyone who came and listened. I think what we're doing here is very unique, and we have a very exciting technology that we hope will help many people with this terrible disease. And so we look forward to the end of the year for our clinical top-line results, and we hope that you stay with us on this journey and come and see what happens. So thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for joining us on our presentation, and we look forward to having you back, giving us some updates in the near future.
Great.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right, everyone, we'll be right back with our next presenter.